You're listening to the Dudes and Dads Podcast, a show dedicated to helping men be better dudes and dads by building community through meaningful conversation and storytelling. And now, here are your hosts, Joel DeMott and Andy Lehman.
Oh, Joel.
Andy.
We are back in studio, and we're just ready to go.
Again, I don't want to pat us on the back too hard, but the fact that we're recording episodes early, we're getting people on a calendar and signed up. And Andy, I don't know what's happening, but I think in our old age we're getting responsible.
We are growing up as podcasters.
Oh
I
my
think that's
goodness,
what we are.
That's what it is. Wow,
Yeah, we are officially getting old.
we're clear. All this organization and time management, something has really turned a corner.
But I am really excited about our episode tonight.
Gosh, it's going to be a good one. But
that sounded really but I am.
Joel, I'm super excited.
I'm excited
about what's going on.
Dude, it's a Friday night, man, and I'm.
Oh, Friday. We're recording on a Friday, which you know what that means, Andy.
Please tell me.
It means that, well, for me, it means I have angry children at home wondering why I'm not doing something way more exciting with them. And so in order for me to be here in studio tonight, I'll just be honest with you, I had to bribe them, and I had to say, I'll take you to the movies when I get back. That's not true. It's going to be late. I'm not going to take them to the movies.
But now you're going to have
to.
But
I know I will have to. Yes, the other day I realized that they're remembering all my promises now. Hey, everybody, we want to say a big thank you to our new Patreon patron, Mr. Bradford Gertzen. Now, some people call him Brad, but those of us that really know Brad and really love Brad, we go by the much more regal name that his mother gave him, and that is Bradford Gertzen. I would give a middle initial, but I don't know what it is.
And I'm just going to mention he's the one that interrupted our show the other day.
Brad
with,
likes to. Brad is
music.
in here. He's doing a little side work here in the evenings, and he was
jamming.
It was
great.
It was, boy, I didn't know the walls could shake the way they did. I don't mean to brag, but here at Clinton Frame we have a top notch sound system,
yep.
like frighteningly. We may be the quiet in the land, but when it comes to our music, let the beat drop. So you can join Brad as well and be one of our fine patrons and receive a little something in return. Andy, a little something in return.
Yes.
Wow, that sounds enticing. If you wish to give a one-time gift, you can go to the dudesanddadspodcast.com/PayPal and give a one-time gift.
Or support. Support will take you to the Patreon page.
Got it. So dudesanddads.com/support.
Or /PayPal.
Yeah. So many options, Andy.
There is.
So many options. We have found so many ways for you to give us money. So thank you. Thank you for that. But yeah, again, Brad, we appreciate your support, man. You support not only this podcast, but really, Brad is one of my high school. He's a high school volunteer. He's investing in the lives of young men on a daily basis, and so he's an all-around rock star. We appreciate him. We love him, and we just thanks for partnering with us, Bradford.
So, Joel, we have a really cool, interesting show tonight. We're going to be chatting with the fine gentleman of Real Talk Christian Podcast. But first...
Yes.
What's brewing?
You brewed us some coffee tonight, so
I
I'll let you talk
did,
about it.
and it's strong because I can feel it already.
That's good because you're going to have to take your kids out after this to the movies.
Apparently, it's going to be a late-night movie run. I don't even know what movies are playing. I'll have to check that out later. So we've got the Island Blue. This is a Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee, Andy. I snagged this when we were down in the great island of Jamaica this past summer, and smuggled it aboard an aircraft. There's nothing more sinister than putting 1 pound bricks of something in a suitcase and taking it on an airplane.
And hoping to not.
You hope it's all going to work out okay. But it absolutely did. And so, this is the Island Blue. It's kind of a medium roast. I don't really know anything too exciting to say about it other than it's delicious coffee. And if you were to buy this on the Amazons, it's $70 a pound, Andy. 70. By the way, I did not pay for that. I did not pay that much while in the Jamaica. I literally just went to a Jamaican. By the way,
You stole it.
Jamaican grocery stores. Here's the deal, guys. It's crazy in there. It's absolutely crazy because everybody does their grocery shopping at approximately 9 p.m. at night. And so you go in at night and there's lines. Like it'd be like a grocery, like if you went to Martin's, whatever, like that's very much that kind of setup. But just lines of people with their carts waiting
at 9 o'clock at night.
It's just
that's
so,
when everybody
it's like
gets the munchies.
It's like
See,
the
around
rush.
here it's 5 o'clock at Kroger.
Right.
Don't go to Kroger at 5.
100%
Hey,
correct.
you unmuted us.
Yeah.
I've
welcome.
learned.
We're unmuted.
Welcome to the show.
Hello,
Guys, welcome to the
listeners.
show. So
as we mentioned, Real Talk Christian is a podcast that I'll let you guys describe it, but they reached out to us and said, hey, you want to do a cross episode? And we're like, yes, that'd be awesome. So
100%.
they journeyed all the way from South Bend down to the rural Goshen area.
We almost hit
horse
what,
country.
four
They hit
buggies,
a
5
wicked
buggies.
buggy
Something like
traffic jam on Highway County Road 35. there.
Oh man!
It was bad.
So
and then a guy on a bicycle too.
guy on a bicycle,
Yeah.
but not like a normal bike. It was one of those like where you're like laying down, and your feet are like way up in the air.
The recumbent,
The recumbent, yes.
the recumbent
Yes.
It
bicycle.
looked like Napoleon like it looked like the Amish Napoleon Dynamite.
No, no, no.
Like,
no.
it was like red
It
hair,
was,
the curls were sticking out the beanie.
it was Weird Al from Amish Paradise without the beard. That's what it
without
was.
the beard.
Wow.
So, anyways,
So this is
we,
weird.
We
This
can
is
be
really
we
weird.
can almost be guaranteed that no one is being offended by this because
they're
Amish
not
people
gonna
are
be
not
listening.
listening to this podcast.
well, thanks for having us on, guys.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
appreciate
Guys,
it.
we're thrilled to have you here.
Yes.
Thanks for driving out and coming seeing us.
I just want to say that I've been listening to you guys since like you guys first started the Dudes and Dads podcast. So
they're
I'm
listening. They're listener
I'm geeked out.
OGs.
I'm geeked out.
Don't
Sweet.
you use the term they a little liberally?
They
Okay, Fuller.
It's Fuller.
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 Fuller has
yes.
been listening since the beginning.
Which I feel a
Fuller.
little ashamed about saying. I mean, I
All-
listen to a lot of Carrie Newhoff, a lot of Amy Poterfield.
All I
But-
know is like Joel. I remember Joel making a video and posting it to Facebook, like when they were like, "Hey, we're getting ready to release our first episode," and I'm like, "All right, I think I'm going to listen to this because
It's good. I
Now,
appreciate
I forget, was that before you guys started your show?
that is actually." So I had been thinking about podcasts for a while.
Yep.
And so had Mark. And I listened to your show, and I'm like, if Joel DeMott can do it,
Amen. That's right.
Joel DeMott.
Guys,
Joel can
I've,
do it,
I've
anyone
said it
can.
100 times, and I'll say it one more time. Let's just be very clear where the brains behind this operation are across the table from me.
Andy's the brains, you're the voice.
Yeah, Andy, and this is the thing, and as I'm sure you guys have found out, is that there is as with any kind of venture like this, there's a multiple skill sets that are required to make
Oh yes.
the thing
Yep.
happen, right? And just somebody who likes to talk a lot will not get the job done, particularly when you're really, really, really resting on all the technological pieces working really, really well. Because this golden voice here sounds terrible if it's not been EQ'd properly. So
We get that.
Yeah,
Yep, we
yeah,
totally
and
get
it's been a learning curve, but I think, well, and these are questions that we want to talk to you guys about too. The really awesome thing for Andy and I has been, and I'll share this with you guys. So Andy and I were at an event the other, gosh, I'm losing track. Last
weekend.
Last weekend, we're at an event. I run into some people that listen to the show. They come up to me like Joel, hey, love the show. Next thing out of their mouth, where's Andy?
No, dude, it was weird. It was cool.
Where's
and hey,
Andy?
It's like
Taylor and Preston, hi.
Yeah, hi, guys.
Hey, but no, like I'm about ready to go down the zip line. Actually, I just came off of the zip line, and they're standing there waiting, and they're like, "Dude, are you Andy?" And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
"Yes."
Toy Story? No.
Yes.
They're like, "No, like we listened to the podcast," and I'm like, "Oh, that's cool. Like
Yeah,
you recognize me by my voice."
It's
It's a little terrifying, though.
Yeah.
Let's be
Well,
honest. It's a little terrifying.
yeah, and it's like as you guys know and experience, it's just like doing this thing because it's like a whole, it's like birthing a child. It's a whole other thing that
Oh, yeah.
goes out there, and you
Not quite as painful.
thank you. I would assume.
Well,
I would
mean,
assume.
From our perspective, we can say it's just as painful. 'Cause we don't really
Because
know.
we've
no
never.
idea.
Let's not ask the wives.
let's
Or-
just make a completely uneducated statement and stick to it.
Let's just say we love you, honeys.
Double
All
down.
right, I'm staying out of this because like,
Good choice.
Yeah.
So guys, let's just first off say Real Talk Christian podcast or RT. By the way, guys,
RTC.
Andy, I love what you've done with our mugs, but I'm seeing their first of all, these amazing mugs.
Here, you can
Real
flip it.
Talk Christian Podcast mugs.
We did not make these. Janelle
my
made
wife
these.
made these.
These were
Janelle.
Christmas presents.
Janelle.
Yeah.
I
Janelle
paid for my own
Fuller.
Christmas present. I want to go on record for saying that.
But so great.
She designed it,
That-
though.
That's awesome.
She jacked my stuff off Facebook,
Wow.
but thank you, Janelle.
She put it on a cup.
I see I've touched on a touchy subject here.
No, it's a joke we have.
Yeah.
But
so
yeah, no, we got our mugs with us. You guys got your mugs.
it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's great.
So what got you guys started in this whole thing? Like, what? I mean, apart from like we all entertain these ideas of grandeur of like, hey, we wanna do this thing. Andy and I have talked many times about kind of what really compels us to do this. But as you guys were thinking about like, hey, we want to do a podcast, we want to engage in this format. What got you there? What brought you two together in doing it? And what has the experience been like to this point?
Well, I can answer this one pretty easily, and that's
You can.
Yeah, I can. And so I really wanted to do television, and then I looked in the mirror and realized I better start with something else.
Did someone tell you that you had a good face for radio?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Here's the deal. That's written on my 6th grade yearbook from a teacher. And
Wow.
I'm like, oh, that's so nice. Wait a
Wait
minute.
a minute here.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. I'll let you answer it.
Oh, you're gonna let me answer it?
Yeah, I just
no.
wanted to throw
So Phil and I go to church together over at Southside Baptist Church. You started coming to church a couple years after I was already on staff.
Yeah, 3 years ago.
But we became pretty good friends pretty quick.
Yep.
And we used to go to Starbucks, and we would be at Starbucks for 3 hours,
3,
4
4,
hours,
5 hours.
just
yeah.
talking about stuff. And
Yeah.
it wasn't like your typical like, let's talk about the game. And it wasn't even like, let's have a Bible study. It was like, no, how does the gospel like impact this area
Right.
and this specifically all
right.
these different things. And at the same time that we started having these little conversations about, oh, this would be really cool if we could take our conversations, bring other people into the conversation, and then let people sit in on our conversations because we're the fine brains that we are, that people just want to listen to us. I don't know why, but
Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah.
at the same time, I do a series with our student ministry. I'm a youth pastor.
Yeah.
Every single year, and we sometimes change the name. It's been Uncensored 2.0, Real Talk. The whole premise of this entire series was there's a lot of stuff the church does not want to talk about, and they're scared to talk about it.
Sure, yeah.
So we're going to talk about it.
Right.
So everything, I mean, over the last 4 years, we've done everything from abortion to racism to drugs to sex to homosexuality. We've even done alcohol, all the way to the refugee crisis and illegal immigration and all of these things that Christians, specifically with our strain of Southern Baptist stuff, that a lot of people just want to, in my opinion, pretend that just doesn't exist. We
Right,
want to keep the, for lack of a better word, icky, gross stuff out.
Right.
We want to protect ourselves from these conversations. But my teens are like, no, when I go to school, I have to deal with this.
Right, they're
every
hearing about
single
this
day.
already.
100%.
And,
Yep.
and not just with it, but they would come to me and they're like, so Mark, I have a friend of mine, she's gay and she's hitting on me. I don't know what to do. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Right.
what
Yeah.
on earth is happening? And then
Yeah.
they'll be like, oh yeah, we got the jewel rooms. I'm like, what's a jewel room? It's like, it's the bathroom. It's just full of jewel smoke.
Just
So
jeweling it up.
it looks like you walked into like a rock concert.
Right.
I'm so sorry. You look like you walked into a modern church worship service with all the haze and all these different things. So we wanted to have these real hard, intense conversations where we were having these conversations so teens would be used to having those. And at the exact same time, that's when we start having these conversations and we're like, that's it.
That's it
Real
right there.
talk Christian,
Right.
where nothing's off limits. We can talk about anything, and we don't want it to be fake. But we didn't want the podcast to be a sermon, a
Right,
four-step. Like if you listen to Craig Rochelle's leadership sermon, he's like, hey, here's the 3 things how to do this, and it's just boom, boom, boom,
Right.
15 minutes.
I mean, we've had those episodes.
We've had some of those, but we wanted it to be a true, let's just have a conversation where our opinions might, in a lot of episodes, our opinions change in the course of that 45, 50-minute conversation.
And we try to get our listeners involved in like, hey, send us your questions, ideas. What do you want to hear about? And
So we have
we'll talk
we
about
have
it.
about a bank of 40 other questions that we haven't even touched yet.
Right.
And the list just keeps adding and adding and adding.
So they've gotten people to respond to their questions. Now,
well, let's back this up a little bit. I got teenagers who blow me up. And they're like, you should talk about this, talk about this, talk about this. And I'm like, no. But we also have a friend by the name of Paul Lindgren
Right,
that
Paul.
is all about the podcast
Yep,
too.
Joel knows Paul.
Paul, I love you. I miss you. And by
we
the
did
way, I had a sense that the intro music for Real Talk was from you, Paul. And it's been confirmed for me. It's almost like I can just feel your
can
essence
sense it.
through the strings.
And-
It's true. Yeah.
And hopefully by here in the next little bit, we'll be dropping a song he wrote specifically for our podcast.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
that's me pretty dope.
It's good to have. See, this is the thing tell me if you've experienced this. When you start the podcast, you start thinking about every person that you know that has something either to share or a gift or an ability that you don't have that you can somehow. We'll use the term leverage for
For the kingdom, leverage
for
for
the
the kingdom.
leverage for the kingdom and the show. I mean, it's just like us. Before, literally, one of the first steps that I took as we were talking about like our intro or whatever was our good friend Jim Carter, who has been on WFR and Impulse for years, just a golden voice in radio.
Yeah.
And he's now serving as a chaplain over at the hospital in Elkhart. But I was just like, there's nobody else. I know this person can do this, and so I'm going to reach out to this person to do. I mean, it's totally random to ask somebody. Would you do the voiceover for our show?
And
But you'd be
thankfully-
surprised, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
people
a lot
wanna
of it
do
is
it.
like ask it and what's worst they can
Yeah,
say is no.
right.
Like right now, like our intro is Janelle, which is your
Right,
wife. Our
right.
outro, it's a girl in our small group. Well, she's not a girl; she's older than me.
A woman.
She's Nicole Houbold. She
Right.
does the closing outro. I don't know if you know the Houbold.
We do know the Hobbolds.
Micah,
So,
Micah
yeah.
and Nicole and the kids.
Yep.
Yep. So she does the outro
Okay.
on the back, and that was literally kind of like you. I was sitting in Starbucks and I was like, "Crap! Wait, can I say that word on your
You
podcast?"
can, 100%.
Okay,
We've done worse.
I'm not allowed to say
Andy's got the where's the bleep button, Andy?
wonderful. See, at church, I'm not allowed to say that from the pulpit, but it's okay. Youth room.
I
Let's
feel
go.
like you learned that the hard way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
did.
There we
Yeah,
You did.
I've learned a couple
You've
other words
passed
that
your
we're
learning
not
curve.
allowed. Here's other words I've learned I'm not allowed to
You've
say.
also learned that you cannot talk about Lord of the Rings from the pulpit too.
Oh, I've had people threaten to leave the church over it.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Really?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I led my entire. It was a beautiful intro.
It was a good.
I
it was
crushed it.
It was really good.
Crushed it.
He's not
People
full
were like,
of himself
"Well,
at all.
I've never done anything better in all my life.
and people wanted to leave. No. Oh shoot, where are we going with that? I said crap, and we went down a really fun rabbit hole.
Talk about Nicole
Oh
Hubble.
yeah, I was sitting in Starbucks and I went, crap, I need an outro like now.
Yeah, right,
so
sure.
I texted her. I'm like, hey, can you give us an outro? Here's your phrase. 5 minutes later, she sent me back an MP3 and she goes, let me know if this works for you. And I'm like,
Those are the
Nice.
kind of people you
This
need
is
in your
legit.
life.
Exactly.
Yep, that's
So-
right. That's right. So it was so something I'm really that just like totally connected me with me when you said this was really this comes out of, I mean, you guys doing what you're doing comes out of a place of two dudes sitting down having lengthy, in-depth conversation and being willing to go to that kind of place with each other.
Right.
Does that feel? Do you see that happening amongst other guys that you know?
they don't listen to this. Nope.
Yeah, probably.
Well, I
not so
should
much.
say-
Not so
Well,
much.
it depends.
Yeah.
Like Fuller and I, like we have a very unique relationship where we both have flat out told each other where it's like we want this to be real, authentic, know what's
Right.
going on. So, so my life has. You might need to bleep this one. I Prince walked through hell this
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah.
But Fuller knows every little thing.
Sure.
we walk with each other.
yeah,
I mean,
we
that's,
walk
that's the
through
whole
it.
purpose of
Right.
being a Christian.
And then
so.
the other associate pastor at Southside, Soche, which we've had him on a lot, which he started his own podcast now, which is pretty sweet.
Interesting.
Yeah, with some of his old college buddies. He's been. I mean, he walked into Southside. The next week later, I basically stepped out because my life exploded. I don't know if you guys know the whole story of what goes on in my life.
You
but
need to tell us.
We'll,
right
we'll,
now.
we'll tell you right here, right now.
do it right
If
now.
you want
Just
to,
do
go,
it.
sure, go ahead.
Yeah.
So long story short, I mean it's common knowledge. So
Yeah, you're good.
I won't throw her under the bus, but too much. But this past summer, I found out my wife was having an affair, and so she had the affair. I didn't catch it, but I caught it via text, and then the whole world exploded from there. She moved out. The divorce was finalized.
December?
No, first
no,
week of
beginning-
January.
yeah,
First
that's
week
right.
of January,
And then-
so then she got remarried.
just this last weekend.
Just yeah. So and not everyone knows that last little tidbit of,
Yeah.
of the story. So but through all of that, Soche's become a brother, and I can
Yeah.
talk to him
Right.
just about anything. And then
Yep.
so I would say those are the only two that truly know all the deep stuff, and not just here's what happened, because sadly the whole church knows what happens,
Right.
but my thought process through it all.
Right.
So
Right.
and my counselor, but I pay him to listen.
And Soche, he visited as a worship pastor and pastor of discipleship, and from Arkansas. And then decides to take the job and move his family here, and then a week later all this happens, and it's like, oh, by the way, all this extra responsibility you're gonna have to help do now.
So it's been fun.
Yeah,
fun's not the right word. But to answer your question, do dudes actually want to do this? I mean,
I don't see it too often.
To some extent, yeah, at a very surface level. I mean, I've had other great relationships with other guys in our small group too, though. Like walking through some of the issues they have.
Yeah, but not as close as what we've had.
No, not necessarily.
And
the question is why, but I don't know if there is a why.
Yeah, I mean, I'm wondering, Andy and I, we have, as we've shared before, I mean, we started with two other families that are close with us. We started a house church.
14 church people. I'm in.
Yeah,
you're in the right place.
14 years ago,
we did that for a long time.
Yeah. And this community, I mean, the community is still together, and we still get together. We did a couples retreat with these people a few weekends ago.
So you guys still meet with the original house church?
We don't necessarily as much anymore, but we still do get together. Like
the founding group still gets together,
right? As like a date
That's
night.
awesome.
And we're trying. We're trying to, as dudes, get together. For some, I have
been posting on Facebook for the last.
Here's the deal:
some bro times.
Andy is. This is what I appreciate about Andy, and it's deeply convicting to me. Is he is really working toward us guys having better accountability and better community with each other. All of us have. Amongst us 4 families, there are 15 children currently.
Right, and when we started the
we
church,
call that a party.
Right, when we started the church, I think we were the only ones that had one kid.
Correct, and then Abby was born shortly after. So it was it was so much simpler back in the day. And but these are guys, Andy, Brian, and Matt that
we've been through a lot together.
Oh my gosh!
I think between the 4 of us, we've had several miscarriages or stillbirths.
Just a lot of loss.
Yeah, a lot of stuff.
Yeah, a lot of stuff. But you come out on the other side of that. And that's the thing why, I just, hearing you guys say, man, we're having these in-depth conversations and whatever. I don't think the expectation ought to be that everybody can do that with anybody everywhere, right? No,
there's got to be some trust built up.
No, I mean,
first.
even Jesus has his 3 closest.
100%. Right. But have your 3, I think.
Right.
Have your 2, and it's just because we're all, and as you sort of alluded to, you're only one text or email or phone call away from everything that you thought you knew and understood being completely different.
Right.
I will always remember the night when we were up in Grand Rapids with our 2 other couples, and we got the phone call that Andy and Julie had lost their child. Everything changes like that. You better have a crew, or you better have some dudes with you that can walk next to you.
Got to be able to lean on them.
It's going to
right.
I mean, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Something is going to happen sooner or later. I mean, that's just life. It seems like to me.
Yeah.
So, okay. So,
I don't know if you're ready for that conversation.
No, that's beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
That's wonderful.
25 minutes there. No.
I love it. No, it's.
And with my story too, I mean, the journey's not done. That's the sad reality.
Sure.
It's still stuff is still happening, stuff is still going on,
Still fresh.
So that's one thing that's actually kind of cool that we get to do with the podcast is we don't talk about our life situation. I mean, well, we do for the first little bit.
Yeah.
But I would say the first 45 minutes before every recording session, we're just talking. We're setting up our stuff. We're going on. We're confessing we even confess our sins to each other with stuff that he doesn't even know about or I don't know about. It's like, hey, dude, I didn't do this towards you, but I want to bring this to the light.
Right.
So we even do that. So we get that 45-minute, hour conversation. Last Wednesday was like a 2-hour long conversation.
So we meet at 6, usually on Thursday or Friday.
Yep.
And then it's 7, 8, one time 9 o'clock before we
started
start recording.
And we had to record 2 episodes.
And then we do 2 episodes.
And they're about an hour long.
And we do this every week.
My wife always warns me before I walk out the door.
Janelle goes, I'll expect to see you about midnight, 1 a.m. I'm like, yeah, probably.
next week I might not be able to record, but we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
It's Valentine's Day weekend. You gonna get me something?
You know it.
I want that Chick-fil-A.
No pressure,
I
bro.
want that
I tell
Chick-fil-A
you what.
heart nugget basket.
I tell you what, I'll get you Jesus is King album, all right?
Oh.
Kanye West.
I got Spotify Premium, bro. I'm good. I already got I have his Kanye West ornament on my Christmas tree.
Yeah, we had what do we even?
That's not a joke.
Yeah. So we had
I will send you guys a picture.
we had a
That's
white,
awesome.
what is it, a white elephant?
Yeah, we do a white ornament gift exchange for our small group.
All right,
We've been
right.
doing that for like what 4 years
Yeah,
now
something
or
like
whatever.
that. And so we just everybody brings an ornament and we pass it around and play the little game where you can steal it or you can keep it or whatever. And he's like, Kanye, I put a picture of Kanye West, Jesus is King, in like
In
some
a sled.
Yeah, that's what it was. And he's like, bro, that's mine.
Actually, no. Soche ended up with it.
Did
and
he?
Then Soche snuck it into my tree. And I didn't notice it for 2 weeks.
Oh, really? Well, that's because he didn't want Kanye West.
So guess,
That's a real friend, though. Is willing to sneak things into your tree.
and that's Soche. Guess what's going to show up at the church tree next Christmas?
Kanye
On
West.
stage. I'm going to try to sneak Kanye up.
Beautiful.
See if people notice.
That's why our church does not sponsor the podcast anymore.
There, answered your question.
Wow. Okay. Good. Great. So
Where's your segue, man?
yeah, so much. There's so much there, but I think it's a great testament to your guys' friendship and the ability, and it's something that we're always talking with, on here of like, man, get people, get your people around you.
Yeah,
and
we say tribe at Southside. Find your tribe.
100%, and that is enormously important. And in the days of rugged individualism amongst men in particular. Just stop it.
Just stop it.
I think dudes in general are kind of realizing that they need to have, like we were just talking about, that close knit friendship because they can't do it on their own.
I mean, and it extends even further than that, from dudes to women. I mean,
Right.
I know, Janelle and a couple other girls stay in contact with each other and try to have that tight knit group. But usually it's harder for guys because we don't want to be like, hey, let me get soft on you.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm gonna be weak a little bit, but they've actually done a study on generations between the greatest generation to the OK boomers to the Gen Zs to the millennials to the Gen X, and as the generations have gone, millennials are more likely to show their feelings and their emotions, which is why we're called snowflakes.
Yep.
But it's more the fact of we have understood that, rather than the old school where it's like you get punished and you're like, thank you, Dad. May I have another? Like, we're not past that anymore. It's kind of like,
I want to throw out that he relates more to Gen Z and me to baby boomers. I'm just
so I call him.
there.
I always OK boomer Fuller, and he OK zoomers me.
Do you feel you're like an old soul?
Yeah,
Is that what?
like,
is that what it
I
is?
wish I was born in like the 1920s.
Yeah, he ain't got
1930s,
he ain't got the drip.
Wow,
No, yeah.
Man,
that's hard.
Nope, he does not. You're wearing my merch though, but
Life was simpler. I am, yeah.
you're wearing my merch, and you're wearing a flat bill tonight.
I am.
So many.
I tried to find my Detroit Tiger flat bill for Joel,
I would have appreciated that
but
immensely.
I couldn't find it, so I went with the South Bend Cubs.
By the way, before we get out of here, I have an autographed LK line rendering down in my office. I need to show you.
Really?
Just so we can have a Tiger
I know
Hall
some
of
of these
Fame moment.
words.
So
That's where I'm at.
I have a signed home run ball from one of the games last season in Comerica Park.
Beautiful.
So Andy, how is geocaching?
Right,
Oh,
exactly.
jeez. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, Tiger moment.
So
guys.
I'm
Thank
like,
you.
I go Irish. That's all I got.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, we're all Irish fans
yeah.
in this room.
Oh,
That's good.
But you look Irish, my friend.
Yeah, it's the red. It's the red.
the red beard.
We we fell into the Irish thing. Number one, we lived so close to campus when we were in South Bend for 8 years, and then my sister-in-law coached for Notre Dame for a while, and so all my kids got all the merch and all that sort of stuff. And it's like, what do? You have to give in.
That's it.
Just conform.
Yeah, you do. And
Drink the
and
Kool-Aid.
originally being a Michigander, like, my grandfather always said, it's like, I was born on the 50-yard line of the big house, and he's dead now, so I don't have anybody to impress. That's really
That's a
the
good thing.
tradition.
And as I say, we're
Mother
thankful.
Mary.
Right.
Just Mother Mary.
Yeah, that's it. And my uncles who apparently do listen to this show. I didn't realize.
Oh.
So
Hi, uncles.
I've offended them multiple times with my not acknowledging the University of Michigan.
Forgiveness is key.
So
Go Irish. Continue.
Anyways.
so yes, thank you so much for that. So let's see here. Gentlemen, what exactly? So we've alluded to it with Mark, I guess, in short. What is it that you guys do, and how in the world did you find yourself doing the thing that you guys do vocationally, and then we're going to get into the dad stats and the dude stats.
You
and the,
just
all
don't
that
know
sort
what
of
Fuller
stuff.
does.
He's wanting to know. He knows I used to work with his wife.
Yep, used to have
Used to.
that connection, which, gosh, God bless him. That was a long drive into work from South Bend Integration here.
It was.
And now you move even farther west.
Yeah, I do. I live out near New Carlisle now. Not out.
You're in a New Carlislean?
Yeah.
No, you're still South Bend address,
Well,
aren't you?
South Bend, but it's like right there.
Yeah, right on the edge.
He's west of Mayflower, northwest of Mayflower.
Oh, those, yeah. He's
so-
out there.
You,
But,
you Lee, I've been talking a lot, man.
I am a steel worker
Yes.
at the plant in New Carlisle,
Okay.
and I got into it because my dad's been a steel worker for 29 years.
Yeah.
And good money, good benefits. So
Yep.
that's why I'm there.
and my
I'm
job
pretty
has
basic.
no money and no benefits. But
Yeah.
hey,
What exactly does is it Iron Tech or
That's correct, yeah.
And what exactly?
that's impressive,
It's the
dude.
only. It's
He knew.
That was I don't even know where.
Right.
That's
It's
because
the-
he drives by there.
all the time. That's my parents live right down the road.
Yeah.
What exactly does a steel worker of the nature of work that you do? What exactly do you?
So
how does that work?
The plant we're in is actually like a finishing side of it. Like
Okay.
all the steel is actually manufactured in like Burns Harbor.
Yep.
We get it in and we coat it.
Mm-hmm.
We're a coating line. And I'm a mechanic at the steel facility. So
Gotcha.
I work on a huge furnace that is like really hot. It's like 1,000 degrees Celsius, and you're up there messing around with furnace stuff, so it's hot.
So are you hot all the time?
Yes,
Mhm.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
I'm a
this
little.
one-
He
I'm
got
a little,
3 kids.
I'm a little
He got
scared.
3 kids. Hey, I want my
Wow,
Chick-fil-A heart, Fuller.
This podcast.
Wow, we just took a nosedive.
Yeah.
So when
I told you we're close, Andy.
yeah, I can see the connection. I feel like
They're starting to regret
I need to
agreeing
like
to this
separate
now.
your chairs. I need to separate. So how long have you been doing that?
I've been there 3 years now.
3 years. And there's obviously said like yes, the steel workers. That's unionized.
Union,
and so
yep,
you've
yep.
got all the tricks and whistles that go along
Sure,
with that.
we'll go with that.
Sure. He can't say anything else, so he's afraid that something bad will happen to him. That's a
You don't know unions, do
that's
you?
a union. That's a union. That's a union joke. Yeah, my father. So my dad has been in automotive manufacturing management for the better part of my life, and so the conversation about unionization in our household is always it's very
Unions
dicey.
are stupid.
They're
That's a conversation.
They're considered the enemy, and I'm like, okay. And then the moment I try to argue, it's like I'm accused of being a socialist or
Yep,
something.
you
I
lose.
think it's probably how it goes. So, is this the job that you're doing right now? I mean, you said like your dad did this, and this was something. Was it? Do you feel like you were like, oh, dad did this? So was it always I want to avoid what dad did, or was it a like?
It wasn't that I wanted to avoid anything that he did. It was more I looked at how well he could provide for
Mhm.
the family when
Yep.
I was growing up, and I'm like, man, we can do a lot of cool stuff. Like
Yeah.
it's a good job with good
Yep.
benefits, and so as I got my own family, it was like, why wouldn't I go work there and make a good life for my family and be able to do stuff like podcasting and stuff on
Right.
the side, hobbies and stuff,
Mhm.
roasting coffee, and so I have a lot of fun. I mean,
Yeah.
work is work for
Yeah.
me, but it's,
But it enables other things.
Exactly.
And you have the margin to do that.
exactly.
Yep.
Yep.
Margin's a big thing.
I'm just gonna call it. He's roasting his own coffee.
Yep.
We had our first batch last week.
Ooh.
Oh,
Ooh,
yeah.
Joel, you need to take this up, or if we have friends that listen to the podcast who do,
Yeah.
make us a roast.
Who wants to
So-
start making? Yeah. Who
so
wants to make us a
We
roast?
asked for
Just
coffee sponsorships. We've got a couple
ask
bags.
for your
Nice.
patrons to support the Belmore 1600 plus coffee roaster. It's $400. Okay.
we got
if you-
we got
if
a
you-
soundboard.
We got
a
space.
coffee-
We've got space in here. We
If
could
you-
do it.
Let's just
If
say
you
Fuller
wanna-
does not have that yet.
No, I'm buying it though. I just got the okay from
No.
the wife, so
You're gonna buy a roaster, not the Roadcaster?
I might buy both. I don't know.
Oh.
Sorry, Janelle.
Oh.
Things
Things are really heating up
Now,
in here.
now you know why I went.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So
He's a provider
He's a provider.
for the podcast.
that's the only reason why he allows me on the show.
Gets us stuff.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
He buys us stuff. So
Yeah.
no, but yeah, it's definitely a fun hobby to get into. There's a lot of science and chemistry behind it. So
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Andy and I always love the anything that involves like it's like a crafted thing that you have to learn about, and it has like the when art and science collide is where beauty is found.
And then when you can like drink it and it's like magic in your mouth.
100%.
Right.
Yeah.
So true. Absolutely. That's good. That's good. So
I didn't see Andy mark that.
That's
what I just gave you guys like all the information, the starter kit, and you're like, oh, okay.
Wow.
Dibs.
A new reality has been opened up before us. Yes. Wonderful. So you've been married. Okay, so let's just do this. The dad stats.
Let's do
it. Wife and kids. How long? How many names? All that good stuff.
Coming up on 5 years.
5 years.
All right. Yeah, you remember you were the MC at my
I
wedding.
was there. Yep.
Yeah, you were the
MC.
He was the MC.
This
with that smooth, beautiful
but time
voice.
is going so quickly. Like that seems very impossible.
So we
to
just
me.
watched the wedding video the other day, and
cool.
we're like, man, has it been that long already? But
It's
yeah,
amazing. Yeah.
coming up on 5 years in May.
Sweet. Yep.
3 kids. Ages.
Y'all didn't waste any time.
No. We want the DeMott way.
Oh.
That's a thing.
Accidentally? Oh.
So my oldest is 3. Her name is Piper. And then my middle child is coming up on 2, and that's Noelle. And then my youngest is 4 months, and that's Shiloh.
3 girls.
2.
No,
yeah,
no.
You. 2 girls.
1
and
boy.
So the young
Shiloh. Yeah,
Shiloh,
is the
right?
boy,
Yes, is the boy.
Oops.
Yep.
Well, it's fun. No,
Yeah.
because we know. I knew a Shiloh that was a girl. That's
Yep,
why I
yep.
made that
It's just-
assumption.
yeah,
I mean,
but
if they would have picked a name like Scott or Kyle, that would have been a little easier.
Shiloh could go. It can
Shiloh.
go either
Go
way.
either way.
It could.
It's good.
But I knew, so yep.
Yeah, so that's
So you've got a young one. You've got a little one now.
yeah. Can't you see the bags under my eyes?
Yeah.
you remember those days?
Oh gosh. Well, it's sort of. It's all that all.
A blur for you.
You get like
Yeah.
you get like amnesia about that sort of thing.
Dad tired.
So, good grief. Yeah. So okay.
Yeah,
so
so
5
that's-
years, the kids, and yeah. How do you like being a dad?
Oh, I love it. It's the best thing in the world. I absolutely love it.
What's your
it's
favorite?
Exhausting, but I
Yeah,
love
it is. What's your favorite part so far? Because you got the little ones.
So I came home from work today. You know, I had a couple hours between coming here and getting off of work, and we actually just ran around, and I would like hide behind corners, and they would like trying to chase me and then run out, and then I'd just jump out and scare them, and they would laugh
That's
and run the other
so
way.
fun.
And it was like the best moment of the day for me. So, I mean, besides this, but you know, it was great. So yeah, I just being able to do stuff like that with my kids and being able to play and color, and you know, I like to color, so it's really cool that it's like, oh, I'm an adult man, and I can color now.
That's
'cause I have
so
an
good.
excuse, so, you
Right.
know.
You got
Play with
kids.
Play-Doh,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
right.
good.
Legos, all right.
That's so good.
So yeah, I definitely enjoy every aspect of being a dad.
Yeah.
It's opened up a whole new world to me.
Yes.
So
You think you fundamentally think differently
Yes.
as a father than you do.
Right.
Just it's like your brain gets rewired a little bit, I think. Probably
we call it baby brain.
yeah,
Right.
partly due to lack
Baby
of
brain.
the
Yep.
lack of sleep, but yes.
All right.
So,
So,
Mark,
yes,
Marky
you.
Mark.
Tell us
And the
about
Funky
you.
Bunch.
I'm glad you knew the reference.
Yeah. So tell us about you.
What do you want to know? I've already told you some stuff.
everything.
But that's true. So we
You
know.
want to start
we
with
know-
work? You want to start with work?
Yeah, let's start
Is
with
that-
work. I mean,
yeah,
you've mentioned
so,
it, but suck.
So I am one of the associate pastors at Southside Baptist Church on the south side of South Bend. I have been there for going on 6 years.
I was gonna say
I've been
s-
5.5 years. Yeah, so
All
6
right.
years this summer. And so I was hired back when I was 20. Was I 21? At
you
the time?
were
22.
you're the young person
Yeah,
in the
so
group.
I
You're
was,
still young,
I was
man.
hired on as the youth guy.
Yeah.
Not even the youth pastor, not the youth director. I was the youth guy, youth minister. So part-time I was doing that, then I was get my master's the other part-time too. So yeah, I've been doing that for 5.5 years now. I'm about to graduate my 7th grade class that I
Wow.
walked into
Yeah.
Southside with.
Wow.
So
Yep.
it's big time stuff with that.
Yeah. That's a gosh, I'm graduating this year my 8th graders. So I know, right? Exactly. And as with youth pastors, it feels like because you every year is so like you're so clear of like what class is this.
Yes.
It feels like the passing of time is just like evident and clear and in your face all the time.
But now what's hard is like I know who my seniors are because those are the kids I walked
Right.
into and they're the
Right.
ones. I mean, I know you feel like that's kind of the milestone of the youth pastor of like I graduated my
Right.
7th grade class.
Right.
But I know who the juniors are.
Mhm.
The rest are just in the student ministry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I know who goes to the junior high
Right.
small groups. I know who go to the high school small groups. But I'm like, you're a freshman. Like,
Yeah,
I think
right.
you're junior, sophomore, you're somewhere in there.
Yep.
I get the ages messed up all the time. But yeah, so I'm about to graduate my 7th grade class, so that's pretty dope.
Awesome. That's good. So you've been in that role. So you've just sort of like progressed in your responsibility in that role and just kind of
Yep. So I'll do some of the background then. So I'm originally from Northwest Indiana, from the armpit.
From
so
Hammond.
the region.
Hammond. Northwest. Yep, I'm from Lake County, so Hammond, Indiana, and
The region.
the region. And
Yep.
then I moved to Highland when the gangs moved in very close to our neighborhood. We needed a bigger house too. My dad actually passed away when I was 10.
Okay.
So when my dad passed away, the main two people that stepped up, I mean, I had tons of people step up in our lives, but my Sunday school teacher, which we haven't even talked about too much.
Right. We mentioned it in episode
Dick
1,
Fielding,
but yeah.
Richard Fielding, he did a lot of cool stuff with me. But the biggest influences were my senior pastor, who still is crazy influential in my life today, Dan Obinger, and the youth pastor at that time, Matt Perez, which now he's a senior pastor. He was in Alaska, but I think he's back like in the lower 48
Contiguous
or whatever.
48 states.
That's what it is. Yeah, whatever that is. But those two guys were crazy influential. I mean, and honestly, like now Obinger did a lot. I actually my sister and I lived with him after my mom got remarried, and then he had a job here in South Bend. So we moved out, but that was like at March, and Mom wanted us to finish our schooling in Northwest Indiana. So my sister and I lived with him until we finished the school year, and then I never went home. I just stayed there all summer.
Mm-hmm.
My brother had a lot of issues, so his junior and senior year, he went and lived with the Obingers as well. So Obingers were just crazy influential. And then, so when we moved out here to South Bend, did the school thing, all these different things, and then I was at a independent fundamental Baptist classic tent revival teenager thing or whatever, called Farm Fest. And there was a evangelist there, and he's a great guy. But what he was talking about is, have you decided that you will follow Jesus no matter what you do? Not just your life, but in terms of your occupation.
Mm-hmm.
Will you right now say, God, whatever you want for my life, I'll follow through with that? And I said, yeah, I'll do it. And so I started evaluating when I was 16, 17, and I'm like, you know what? The biggest influential people that really had an impact in my life were my pastor and my youth pastor. I want to go do that for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what got me into this idea of let's do something, not specifically youth ministry. I actually went to a little school called Northland International University, right where Wisconsin and the Upper Peninsula of Michigan meet.
Okay.
So we were way up
You're
there.
up there. Yep.
Way up there, dude. So much in the boondocks that we traveled 60 miles one way to church, 24 miles to Walmart, 90 miles to Starbucks. Like it was a rough life, man. We had a dope coffee shop on campus. We had Door County coffee, but so that was good. It was good stuff. That's where my love for coffee came from. Was Door County.
I'm just saying, like, your story is so much better than mine. It was like, mine was like,
it's okay. I'm not even done yet.
Yeah,
so
I know.
so we went up there, and so it was a Bible college. So I started studying actually sport ministries. Was how to use sports as a bridge and a tool.
Yep.
Because that was the popular idea. Was all these churches were doing these sport programs, and since most of the churches got rid of them. But so I got married after my sophomore year of college, actually, to my high school sweetheart, Nicole. And then different Nicole than the one who does the outro in our podcast, because I always have to make that differential. Got married after our sophomore years. I was actually a full-time staff member at Northland. I was the project manager of the creative services department, so that's where all the marketing idea comes from, and I was able to bring that into church life and podcast life. And moved back to South Bend because there was a lot of stuff that happened at the university. Was an intern at a church in Bremen, and then wound up being a pastor at a church that was a mile and a half from the house that I lived in, in south side of South Bend.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's kind of it, man. So I started as a youth minister, and now I'm one of the associate pastors.
And you have 2 kids.
Yeah, I got 2 kids. I got a 4.5-year-old and a 14-month-old.
Wow.
Which makes it very, very challenging for the story too.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
So we always refer to Jared Lopez. I don't know if you guys know who Jared Lopez is. He's the host of Dad Tired podcast.
he wrote a book. He has a massive
He
Facebook
understands
group.
the young family aspect, which you guys have already been through.
Oh, my youngest though is 4, so I still.
So you got it.
So yeah, I'm doing the single dad life right now and trying to just take care of myself and take care of the kids the best I can. So it adds a whole different element though to being a dad. That's for sure.
What? So yeah,
that was a lot.
Way to go. You're doing great.
We're at the 45-minute mark. Let's go.
Nope.
This is gonna be a long
I
podcast.
didn't tell you, man.
We're
Let's
okay.
make this a long podcast.
We're okay. So I am, and hear me when I say this. I am sort of fascinated with the single dad thing, and oftentimes we think about single mom thing is all over the place.
Oh, of course.
Unfortunately, I mean, obviously that's a hard thing, but the single dad, like, what? How are you processing that right now in terms of like, like, I mean, if it were me, it's like, okay, how do I? Andy and I regularly talk about this giant fear we have as fathers that we're at any moment are screwing our kids up,
Right.
Majorly.
It gets so much worse.
Right. So how are you working? Like, how are you working through that?
A lot of coffee.
Yeah.
A lot of coffee. It's bad.
We like coffee.
No, so I'm learning rhythms. I mean, even when Nicole and I were together, we were married for 7 years, and so when Nicole and I were together, Nicole was the homebody and I was the go-doer. So I didn't like. It's not the fact that I didn't not like being at home. It's just my home life growing up as kids. We were always on the go.
Sure.
My dad was a big-time servant in the church, so we were always at the church doing something, or we were at games, or we were going to a friend's house. I mean, my mom, I'm pretty sure, believed that play dates were more important than rest at home. Like, my mom's a goer. Like, vacations.
Yes, she is.
Yeah, vacations, you don't sit, you go do things. That's how I grew up. So so when Elliot turned 18 months and he finally didn't need to be solely breastfed or whatever at nap time, it was daddy dates every Monday. So I would take him out for anywhere from a minimum 2 hours all the way to 6 hours on Monday, and we would just go hang out with just me and him. We'd go to the park, we'd go to the mall, we'd go get Burger King every Monday with those $1.50 nuggets or whatever. So I loved being a dad to do that. And so even to this day, Elliot will, whether we're done with preschool, we just wake up, he'll go, "Daddy, where are we going today?" Or, "Daddy, what are we doing today?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, and so he knows Daddy as we're going to go do stuff, we're going to go have fun. Like, we planned a trip to Shed Aquarium. So another buddy of mine, Devin, which you finally met, Devin.
Yep.
You finally met him. Him and his wife, Kathleen, they've been another absolute anchor in my life. We're all going to go to Shed Aquarium here in a little bit. We go to the zoo all the time, and I've always had my zoo membership. But what makes the element interesting is Elliot is at this stage, which you guys know at that four, you don't know yet, but at that 4.5 year mark, they're independent enough where I could literally just say, "Go play by yourself" until I tell you to stop. But he still wants Daddy to hold him, and he still wants to sit on my lap and watch movies. He still, I mean, shoot, which is kind of cute. He wants to share my mini wheats with me whenever I eat them. But it's like he wants me to still like actually like bring the spoon to his mouth type stuff.
Right.
Like, so he's on that teeter-totter between he wants to be a baby, but he wants to be a big boy too. And preschool's helped with that a lot. But now with his sister, who's 14 months, I mean, he was a very timid 14-month-old where he didn't get into stuff. Evie's like, "Let's see what happens when I do this."
Right.
Like, she's Daredevil.
Yeah. Right.
So it's really hard for me to balance between, I need to show Evie this special time because she's 14 months. I mean, she's so precious and little, and she's not helpless, but she kind of is in a way.
Right.
And then Elliot, he's still like, "Daddy, I still want all this time and attention." And how do I balance between those two? And we've started to figure out some rhythms where thankfully I can just leave Evie in her crib when she wakes up for a half hour so I can have mornings with him. But I'm normally, we call it dad tired, that I fall asleep on the couch with him on my lap every morning at like 6:37. But like during nap times, we intentionally go, "All right, buddy, whatever you want to do, we're going to do. You want to watch a movie? Cool. You want to color? Cool. If you want to play Mario Kart? We'll play some Mario Kart." We just introduced him to that, so
Nice.
rolling with
There's no turning around after that.
Nope.
Once you've gone in.
Nope. It's a blast. So,
Are your kids, Andy? Are your kids doing the Mario Kart?
Yes.
Okay, because here's the deal. When I go to pick up my daughter, his boys are playing Mario Kart, and then my boys who are supposed to stay out in our car while I'm getting
Never
her,
do.
they don't. They come inside, and then I lose them. And what are they doing every time?
Mario
Kart.
Or like this last time when Josiah busted his eye.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, what was up with that? What's the story behind that?
The story here, the quick story is, just so you all know, is that
I'm aware what happened.
So Andy is Andy, unbeknownst, we have not talked about. Andy's a juggler.
I kind of do.
Don't shut up. Andy's a juggler. He juggles, and not only does he juggle,
switch
he juggles.
your camera to you and let's go.
He juggles things.
Start juggling stuff.
He juggles. He's got those batons you can light on fire.
What?
and,
This is
juggle.
no, but let's be clear. This is not what Josiah messed his eye up on.
Okay, but he had it was
He had
a
a plastic one.
It was
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
plastic juggling baton. He hit it on the
Something outside. I
something
think.
outside, like it was the little play school cruiser car thing or whatever.
Oh yes.
Oh,
The-
red with the
the-
yellow
and
roof
and
thing.
it bounced back up and hit him in the face.
Jacked him right in the
and
right in the
bloody.
eyebrow.
I saw the picture. I was like,
And-
what?
But what you have here's the crappy part. Here's the super crappy part. So they're all playing. It's like I'm looking. I'm like, okay, it's time to get this
We
show
gotta
on the
get going.
road. We got to get going. I've got Molly with her coat on and everything. We're getting ready to go. And I had made a joke to them. I'm like, because I had saw Josiah walk around the corner and he's holding like his hand to his face, and I'm like, oh, he bumped his head or whatever. He doesn't look terribly upset. He's just kind of like walking along, and I'm like, and I just made the joke to them. I was like, guys, solid 20 minutes and only one child has gotten hurt. We're doing pretty good, not knowing.
that he had actually.
So
bleeding.
a few
Yeah.
seconds
He's
pass
open.
by from the time, because I can see out the window on the other side, because Andy and Julie have got they've got a decent sized lawn, and I see him walking across. A few seconds rolls by. Josiah walks in, and there's blood like down the
Just,
whole
like,
side of
pouring
his
down
face.
his face.
It looks
Yeah.
like straight out of a horror movie. And all,
And you were like,
all of us parents see him at the exact same time. We go, oh, like just a collective oh. And then he had
That's
sliced
what
his,
happened.
sliced it open pretty good.
Moral of the story is teach your kid how to juggle.
Yeah,
Right.
That's the
exactly.
moral of
Don't
the
hit
story.
it,
It's not
yeah.
Andy's fault.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought you were going to say something like, "Oh, I said don't shoot your eye out."
Yeah,
or
yeah,
something,
yeah,
you know,
right.
the old Christmas story.
Yeah, I
Juggling
was-
six don't hurt people. People hurt people.
That's right. I was, yeah. But then we had to go to the
ER.
urgent care, and it was like,
I'm
hey,
gonna stop complaining because I just complained about Tuesday where I was trying to get out the door to preschool and then Evie spilled her yogurt all over her and then
Yeah.
after I cleaned up her, then she pooped and I'm like,
Yeah.
are you kidding me?
But his kid just whacks
and
himself. with a
yeah,
jumping
so I'm gonna
baton.
stop complaining about what happened on Tuesday.
I've had a lot of. I mean, I remember the season of the inopportune poops too. So
So,
we're through that.
but yeah, no, but I know we gotta start laying the plane soon. But single dad life is definitely way different, and it's a challenge, especially when there's work is pulling me in one direction, family's pulling me in another direction. I got to take care of a house. I got to take care of them. It's challenging, man. It really is. And I should say this, and this is maybe a challenge to the dads that are listening, but it has caused me to have to step up to be a dad because when I'm home, when Nicole was there, I could be lazy and be like, oh, you know what? Like mom's here, fine, whatever. I can go do this. But now it's like, no, I mean,
You are.
now,
You're it.
I'll at least say this: I'm actually a great cook, so that's okay.
Wait a second. Let's roll that back for a second.
I'm a good cook.
Every time we come over to podcast, you're like, "Yeah, just ate me a TV dinner," and it's like
yeah,
every
because
time I
I
see
get
you, it's
home
like,
at-
"Oh, yeah, I
get
just had the
home at
hungry man."
I get home at 5, and I
Wait,
have
what,
to
what
set
did
up,
you eat
and you're
tonight
there
for
by 5:30.
What'd you eat for dinner tonight?
B-dubs.
Yeah,
I
like
had Buffalo Wild Wings.
leftover B-dubs from yesterday. So, but
We
great,
call that-
great cook. I don't blame you.
I
You're a
cooked
single
some
dad.
mean shish kebabs and some chicken fiesta lime, and with my couscous. Oh, bro, I go at it. Let's go.
You
But
just lost
either
your
way,
man card by saying
it's-
couscous.
I've never heard
Okay,
the words
boomer.
couscous.
Okay, boomer.
Flying.
But no. Long story short, it's caused me to step up and be more intentional
Mhm.
because I have to be the dad. I have
Yep.
to be present. Now it's cool because I can at least like Elliot's and Evie hopefully be able to see Dad's a human. Dad's not a superhero.
right.
And but at the end of the day, it's the fact that I got to step up.
Yep.
Yeah.
So and I've tried, but it's hard out there, man.
It's really about being real with your kids. I mean,
Mhm.
just
Right.
you know, you can't be fake with your kids, and you guys know this. So it's
They
just
see right through
Right.
it.
Yeah,
and,
well,
and
yeah,
I've, and
eventually.
I've
It's just-
learned. I've talked with other single parents, and they were like, you got to give yourself a lot of grace. I
Right.
mean, like right now, I am in like Phil and I joke about it. Like I'm in survival mode.
Mhm.
Right.
Like I gotta get to tomorrow. I gotta get to tomorrow. And I've been trying to stop thinking that and trying to be like, okay, nothing's gonna change. This is the way it is. So rather than just survive, why not thrive?
Yeah.
And and so
fake it till you make it, brother.
and
That's
so
good.
but and I have been faking it till I make it. I'm tired, man.
Yeah.
It's exhausting.
How have you communicated with your children about this new season of life? Like how obviously very young.
Right.
So-
We don't talk about it too much. The biggest things I can do is their mom's still their hero.
Yep.
I mean, at the end of the day, mom is still mom, and I can't be the person to change that in
Right.
his mind.
Yep.
But honestly, we don't talk about it too much.
Mhm.
I mean, obviously, he talks about. He'll go, "Daddy, Mama misses you,"
Mm-hmm.
and I'll just be like,
Yeah. Yeah.
or and he'll tell me other things about where he's living and the other guy and other stuff like that too, and it's just like
Yeah.
just keep your mouth shut. I made a squeaky sound. That was
Yeah,
fun.
you
That was fun. But it's more the fact of I should say this. It's the fact of mommy doesn't live here anymore, but mommy still loves you. And
Right.
so what I've been trying to intentionally do is for him to know mommy and daddy still love you.
Yep.
I don't say it, but we just don't like each other right now.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Right.
so and those conversations are going to change as he gets older and he starts asking questions, and because he hasn't realized yet that how come mommy and daddy don't live with each other when everyone else's do.
Right.
And it's a sad reality of our society of he's going to grow up and 60% of people are divorced now. So the fact that he's going to be in a school system, whether private, Christian, public, doesn't matter. He's going to be surrounded by a bunch of other classmates from broken homes too.
Right.
So it changes that conversation a little bit because now he's going to turn and go, oh, it's normal. But I got to get in his mind of, this isn't okay. This isn't what God designed it. I'm still
Sure.
the biggest champion of marriage in the world.
Sure.
In fact, I had to perform a wedding within
That was like 3
weeks after I found out about the affair.
Wow.
And then I had
Man.
I had to coordinate another one and run sound and support and everything for.
Right.
So I actually did a wedding, and then I was the staff pastor overseeing another wedding. I did that over the course of maybe a month
Right.
Yeah.
of everything coming out. So I'm still a champion of marriage, and but and I challenge other guys where it's like you need to step up in your marriages too.
Yep.
Because they're fragile.
Yeah. Well,
Absolutely,
it's
yeah.
just it's one or two choices, and then you find yourself in a. I mean, yeah, all the counseling I've done over the last few years with couples, it's just like no one goes into marriage saying this. I want this to fail I want to be unfaithful or have this thing break up in a few years, and so there's sometimes a few steps, sometimes a million little ones, and then you find yourself in a very different reality, and so. Dude, I'm cheering you on in this season of life, and you're good, dude. You're a good dad. So keep it going.
I try to be.
Hey,
I try to be, man.
it's one, like you said, one step at a time.
I know you know this, Joel, being a youth pastor, but I tell my small group leaders, which I just found out Andy is one of your small group
Yes,
leaders in the
I
student
am.
ministry.
The coolest people in the world work with youth.
Yes. Let's go.
And I just tell everybody's called to youth ministry. They just don't know it yet.
And see, I call my small group leaders. I'm like, just so you guys know, you're the pastors for these kids.
100%.
I can't be. I have my
Absolutely.
3.
Right.
Let's be honest.
Right.
One of them called me right before we started recording.
Right.
So I got my few, but I can't be everyone's youth pastor
Right.
in that. But shoot, where was I going with small group leaders? I
After
mentioned
I-
I tell all my small group leaders, you might not need to know what to say. You won't know how to respond. You're going to respond wrong, but the biggest thing you can do is you just show up every single
100%.
time. The more you show up, the more they'll trust you. And the
100%.
more present you are, the more impact you can have.
Yep.
So there's my challenge to you.
There you go.
You marked it. There's my challenge to you, Andy. Just show up, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Yep.
you just got to show up and be present.
And that's in this day and age, and I find myself I'm trying to get. That's the challenge for me. But this day and age is the being present thing. I frequently find myself living in the future, or thinking about like.
Well, that's our
that-
job, right? That's our
right,
job.
that
Our job is
thing,
to
or-
think in the future.
I mean, I just sent out an email will be going out to my parents here. It's scheduled to go out, Monday morning about what's happening in July, and it's like
yeah, and we've already talked missions trips
Yeah,
and student
the
leadership
whole
retreats,
deal,
and
right,
yeah.
and so there's vocationally you're very much living that way, and then it's very hard for the rest of your life not to get pulled into that thing where it's like, but instead, tomorrow I'm going to take Aaron to 4-H rifle, the 4-H rifle range.
Forgot about that.
That's just
Thanks.
that 1 to 5 tomorrow. There you go, Andy. This is why we also work together. We help each other, and our kids are in the same stuff, so that's how we keep
helps.
each other's calendars
We're
straight.
too young to do that yet.
Right.
But one day, buddy,
Right.
one day it's gonna happen.
Dude, Andy and I have kids both in fishing and in shooting sports, and it's busy, but it's great.
It is.
It's a lot of fun. Guys, you
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for
you
coming out.
have
Thanks for
just
having us.
hit it out of the park. We're so glad to have you on here, but of course we can't let you go.
Now it's time for the Dudes and Dads Pop Quiz.
All right, so Fuller knows what we're doing here.
I'm learning.
Yeah, I do.
I'm learning.
But Mark has not listened, so.
So here's okay.
I have my podcast list
I'll
raised
look-
in case someone asks me what my favorite episode was.
Since I'm gazing across the table at Mark, I'll hit him with
Gazing.
Yes.
with questions.
Okay.
You can hit
All right.
Fuller.
Perfect. It's usually 3 or 4 questions.
Yeah.
Easy. You'll pass, I promise.
No one has failed yet.
Oh boy.
Let's
Oh,
go.
boy.
Let's go.
All right, you
Let's go.
start.
I'm going to start.
You start.
I feel like you already answered this one. Mark, if you could currently identify your favorite coffee.
You can't ask someone that question.
Yeah, I just did. Go.
Go.
He may fail this.
My favorite coffee?
Yep.
Okay, so I have my favorite, like, hipster coffee, and then I got my favorite just standard. My favorite
let's just do
standard is
two.
Caribou.
Okay.
Caribou coffee is my standard favorite. I go to Starbucks all the time because that's what's close, but my
Right.
favorite is actually
The Caribou.
My favorite local micro brewery, micro roastery,
Roastery.
is from Main Street down in Napanee.
They're good there.
Main
Yeah.
Street
we
Roasters
have
in
not
Napanee.
gotten a Main
So
Street
good.
roast in here yet.
We got some stuff from the UP in Michigan that was fire.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Stuff was good.
That
But-
crane or what was it?
Dancing Crane.
Dancing Crane
Yes.
up by
Dancing-
Brimley.
yes.
I've been there. I know right what you're talking
so we had a
about.
listener
Yeah.
send us coffee from there. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
we just
Our listeners-
Dancing Crane. Here we come.
Get on it,
So
listeners.
but my favorite local micro
Yeah.
roastery is Main Street.
Right,
South Bend,
yeah,
South
they're
Bend
good.
Chocolate Factory is okay, but
Yeah.
it doesn't touch Main Street.
They're close. That's
100%.
what they are.
They close, but I will sometimes make the long trip to Napanee just for that cup of coffee.
Amazing.
Awesome. All right.
Let's do it.
So, favorite musician, like favorite band.
Okay.
John Mayer,
Yep.
hands down.
All right.
He is
Wow. You did not strike me as a John Mayer listener.
I am a huge John Mayer
so
fan.
much to learn here. Let's see here. First vehicle.
That I actually owned.
Yeah, like what did you drive? What was the first thing you drove when you got your license? Let's just start there.
Either a 2003 Honda Odyssey,
The
Ooh,
Odyssey.
minivan, baby. But the main
Nice.
car I had was a 2000 Honda Civic.
And you're young.
And the first car I bought was also a 2000, not also, but 2000 Honda CRV. That thing died at 20 years old. Just turned 20 years old when we got rid of it.
Just kept going.
Yep.
Beautiful.
All right. The first date that you and Janila went on.
We actually, fun fact here, we
facts with
we
Fuller.
met online. I think you knew that.
I think so,
Rachel.
yes.
So we
Mhm.
met online on plentyoffish.com.
They right swiped.
And after no, not Tinder. Not Tinder. No way. I'm too much of a boomer for Tinder.
That's right.
Before
That's
you
too
guys
hip.
ask, no, I am not on Tinder.
So
no, I'm
hip.
not.
No, Christian Mingle. So
I'm not
so,
there either.
So as we conversed and through email and then through phone calls, we decided to meet at Steak and Shake on Grape Road in South Bend, and that was the first place
Awesome.
we had our date.
Which did later almost burn to the ground. But
did,
anyway,
yep.
Because it was so hot in there.
so hot. So hot. So many people
I'm keeping
meeting
my
off
mouth
of
shut.
so many people meeting off of Tinder at Steak and
It's odd.
That's how you know it was meant to
Oh,
be, because she
man.
was okay with Steak and
Shake.
Shake.
Yeah. That's like it's kind of like
It's
you're
a
setting
test.
right, it's a test.
Yeah,
exactly.
it's a test. If she says no, I know she's not the right one.
Smart move.
My
See, you start
my
low,
filter
expectations are low.
is trying to hold back so
Smart
bad, and
move.
it's so hard.
Smart move. Let's see, Mark. What are we going to ask you? We're going to ask you. Okay, if you weren't doing the youth pastor gig, or the pastor gig in general, what other vocation might you find yourself in?
So I would be in the marketing world in some way, shape, or form. So I got a really weird love with paper. I love paper products. In terms of at Northland, my job was the creative services project manager.
That's
so
what Dwight Schrute said.
Yeah. My world is paper.
my world is paper.
I love paper.
That's it. No, but so there, so like, universities, like they send out postcards and
Yeah.
emails, and they have brochures when you go visit a desk.
Mm.
Nothing that Northland produced could be produced until I signed off on it.
Yeah.
So that was my
Gotcha.
job. I was a 20-year-old guy doing a 35, 40-year-old guy's job. It was awesome. So I love doing
Makes it sound like it's old.
Right.
Yeah, no, but that's the guy before me. He was in his 30s, and I replaced him at 20.
This
It was
is why I
nuts.
call him Gen Z.
So, no, so I'm very big in the marketing world. I love social media, love print. I love screen printing and T-shirt design as well. So I actually did that as well. So
I just should go on the record as saying we recently, Andy, were updating our pastor bios here because we do like these Meet the Pastor events
yep.
here, whatever. And so our new administrative assistant, also my ministry team leader, Angela. Angela does a fantastic job along with all of our team here. But Angela sent out this questionnaire for all the pastors, answered all this bio, funny question, all that stuff,
We got
right?
that stuff too.
Yeah, all that stuff, right? And she she asked like bucket list, what bucket list items? And I just wrote for funsies, I want to start my own premium design line of youth pastor T-shirts, and I have no idea what that fully means.
Well, Sunday Cool alrea's got like
100%.
youthmitten.org though.
My favorite T-shirt from Sunday Cool is the Yeet shirt with the praying hands. I have it. It's super comfortable.
You have it.
I have it. It's super comfortable.
Which they just they buy like Bella by canvas, rip the tags off, and stamp their own things on it.
It's super. The thing is
But it's the water-based ink that they use.
the shirts are. We're getting into T-shirt talk
See,
here.
this is my gig. This is it. This is my world.
I honestly feel though that the fabric is a little bit better than the Bella by canvas. It's like that's because when it was super soft, it's what I expected it to be. It's just got a little more weight to it.
Okay.
It breathes nicely. And the double XL does not make me look like I'm wearing a sailing mask.
Yep. So this one is this was last year. He's wearing this year's design stuff. This
nice.
is which is all designed by teens. I've had teens design it the last 3 years.
Nice.
And so this is just the 50-50 blend, but this year we went with Bella by Canvas.
Beautiful.
And
See,
it's comfortable.
this is the things that youth pastors talk about, Andy. Welcome you're getting behind the curtain.
that's
here.
it.
Us
So-
IT
and I'm a
guys
bar-
don't talk about that.
And that's my other job at church is not just youth ministry. That's only like 30% of what I do. My other job is just to get people in the door.
Yes.
Like my job is not to keep people in the door. My job is to get them in the door with
Yeah,
live
right.
stream, social media, all the fun stuff.
Gotcha.
We
Good.
talked about that.
M-
Yeah,
My last question is, if you could travel anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Ireland.
Oh, nice.
No question.
There was like no pausing there. That
so
was.
let's because we got to fill up time.
See, I
why?
talk a lot, and he
Why?
has one answer.
Why Ireland?
Because my family from generations ago was from Ireland, and
Gosh,
so
it's
it'd
so
be
epic.
so
It's
cool
such
to
a-
travel there and see the rolling hills of green and
Beautiful.
That'd be cool.
bagpipes, and I'd probably take my kilt.
Yeah, I think it's
Because
only
you have a
appropriate.
kilt?
You can't be Irish or Scottish and not own a kilt.
It's only
just-
appropriate.
Dude, I
that
am
you-
Irish and Scottish, and I don't own a kilt.
Well, get on it.
Time to get on
Because
it.
I got couscous.
What's the thing? The leather.
it's a pouch. That's what I call it.
The leather pouch.
There's
There's
a chain
It's
around
like a
it.
funny name.
Yeah, it is. It's really
that I
funny.
want to remember.
It's cute.
But it's pretty cool.
Someone's going to Google that. We'll put
Yeah.
that in the show notes. Let's find out what the leather pouch in front of the man parts on the kilt. Let's find out what that's called.
It's kind of like a makeshift cup.
It kind of is. I feel it's maybe for defense.
That's what I was thinking too.
I feel it's
It wasn't
likely
just for carrying stuff.
because either they wore kilts into war or they had 4-year-olds that like to headbutt you. That's the
I
other.
mean, we all seen
Yep.
Braveheart, and we know that there ain't nothing under there. So
Wow.
Freedom, man.
Wow.
that was the real message.
there you go. Any more questions?
Yeah, I've got one more. I just have to remember what it is now. The kilt lingo really took me off on a strange.
It threw you off.
It threw me off. Let's see here. If you were, oh, okay. You're trapped on a deserted island.
Oh, okay.
What you've got? I'm gonna give you 2 items that you.
Besides the Bible, because
We-
you can't,
that's
get
obvious.
past the church.
I'm gonna allow you
We're
to-
youth pastors. We know.
I'm
We
going to
know.
allow you to not give the spiritual answer of the
Okay.
Bible. So we'll just assume that
You have one.
that the good word washes up on shore by itself because God wants it to be there.
Okay.
But you've got 2 other items that you absolutely need with you on this deserted island. What are they?
The heart of Tafiti and
we
Maui.
have small children.
I am Moana.
There it is. No, so what
I
2
see what
items would
you're
I bring
doing.
with me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I
he
think so.
washed up on a deserted island and he brought stuff with him.
Yeah,
right.
that's
He's like
exactly
he's
what it
like
is.
he's like Tom Hanks is like, thank goodness I've got
He
this
gets
ice
3
skate."
wishes. The
Yeah,
one is the
thank you.
Bible.
I got Wilson. Okay, so I'm not sure how this would work, but a way to continually grow coffee,
Good.
because that would be
I love
fun.
I love your commitment.
You gotta have
Thank you.
coffee. You gotta have coffee.
Absolutely.
And the other, it has to be an item.
I'll let you be as generous with yourself as you need to be
Be
to
as
answer
generous.
to answer the question.
I'd bring Spotify with me.
Okay.
Coffee and Spotify.
Coffee
That's
and
How are
the
you
way-
gonna roast
Spotify.
these green beans though?
That's-
The
I
sun,
mean,
bro.
Sun roasting.
That's impressive.
No, you got fire. All you need is fire. It's like a French
That's
press.
it, that's
You
it.
got the beans.
All right,
you
all
just
right.
figure out how to
It's
mash
a
them up.
deserted island.
Put it in a pot. You got some stuff.
There's
Where's
some
your
coffee.
pot?
There's some coffee aficionado out there right now going, "This man has lost his mind."
I was trying to be funny, okay?
It's
but
good. It's
didn't
good,
work.
Mark. No,
but
okay,
I figure out how to have Spotify because I got to have my beats and I got to have my caffeine.
love it.
Well,
Good.
guys, thanks for coming out tonight and
Thanks for
hanging out with
having
us. Before we go, though, can you tell us where people can find your podcast?
Give us all the info.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the easiest way is to find us on Instagram or on Facebook at Real Talk Christian Podcast, or you can go to realtalkchristian.podbean.com. That's the main hosting site
Okay.
that we have, and that can take you to iTunes or.
They're on Podbean, Andy. See that?
Yeah.
So are we?
I know.
We're on
Andy,
the
you guys
listing.
left.
You are, because I have the app Podbean, and it's like both of ours.
So,
Yeah.
so,
are my
so
favorites.
social media is the
Yep.
easiest way,
Right.
and then so we're listed anywhere that podcasts are listed too.
And we also have a Twitter account, Real Talk
I forget
Christian
that we have Twitter.
Podcast
I forget
at-
we have Twitter.
Yeah, at Twitter.
Is it active again?
It still is active. I still post to it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Every once in a
boomer. I don't know.
Too easy.
I don't know if that's. I don't know if that's a boomer.
Yeah,
thing.
and
I
so
don't
yeah,
think
we'd
so.
love to have you.
Awesome.
Love to have you join.
Great,
Yeah.
Thanks. Well, guys, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. You can, if you have any feedback about this episode, give us a call at our voicemail line. It's 574-213-8702, or you can always take out that voice memo app, record a memo, and send it to dudesanddadspodcast@gmail.com. Joel, final thoughts.
My final thoughts are, Andy, this just gets more fun every time, and I'm almost unsettled by the amount of fun that we're having. So yeah, thanks everybody for listening, and until next time,
Grace.
and peace.